Evening, gang. Hello. Here we are. March. January, February, March. Is that 3 months since Christmas or 2 months? 25, 25. No, 2 months since Christmas. Yes, evening, gang. Welcome. It's Sunday, the 2nd of March, 2025. Welcome along to tonight's little chat show. It's United Kingdom Talk, coming to you from the Mirable Studios with Revolving Mirable in Bracknell in Berkshire. Welcome along there, boys and girls. We're on TikTok as well this evening, I think. Not 100% sure of that, but I've done something which puts us on YouTube, Facebook, YouTube, of course, the main channel, and Facebook and TikTok as well. I'm not sure that I can see TikTok. I can, yes. Mike, good evening, Mike. Oh, that's what I was waiting for, a message there on TikTok. So we're on there as well this evening and going forward. I might even be able to do it on the same camera rather than those of you that watch the radio show Monday to Friday at reachonair.com know that there's 2 cameras for that. There's a TikTok one and a Twitch one. Now I think I might be able to do it for the same camera, freeing up one of them for a little angle or something. Evening to Boots and Beats Radio. Evening to you. You're not used to this. You're used to music and all. This is something different I do on a Sunday night. So welcome along to you. We're here for the next hour and a half or so. All right, my darlings. What a lovely day. Okay, the last 3 days actually, last 3 or 4 days have been really nice. Still quite cold. I mean, I've been leaving here this morning. I left the house at about 9:45. I think it was like 1 or 2 degrees, but bright sunshine. And doesn't that make all the difference, eh? It really does. When you go out and it's grey and dreary and horrible and cold, it just makes you feel like poo, doesn't it? I mean, it really does make you feel like poo. But this morning and the last 3 or 4 mornings, it's been bright sunshine, not enough to quite hit your face and warm it up, but nevertheless, lovely and bright. I've got daffodils coming up, which Vera, from Vera's Choice in the Morning, sent me. I've done some pictures of those, which I'll show you a little bit later on in the show. But just walking up generally, other daffodils coming out, nice and green. And when you look at some of the plants, as I walk around here, whether I'm going up to the swimming pool, gym, or litter picking like I do on Saturday, you can see buds appearing on all the trees. My hydrangea, I've got a great big, huge hydrangea at the front. To be fair, it doesn't get that many flowers on it, but you can see it starting to bud and all the newness coming around. Do you think that happens with us when we're dead? I mean, obviously, if you're cremated, ain't going to happen to you, is it? No, not going to happen. You have already converted into a pile of smoke. However, if you're buried, I just like to think that you might grow again like a plant. You know, hopefully not one that someone eats. Yeah, because I don't want to be eaten. I'm not sure. I don't mind buying a rabbit, if I become a carrot or something like that. I don't mind becoming eaten by a rabbit. But another human being, I think it's a bit sick. Almost to the point of cannibalism. So, depending on what you've had to eat today, if it's been grown on an old cemetery, you could now be classed as a cannibal. You could, yes, you could be classed as a cannibal. Oh, there's Vera there now. Vera. So we'll show you her. Shall I show you them now, actually? Let's show you. Vera sent me some lovely daffodils. Here we go. And she sent me these she brought them into the pub where I do karaoke back in September, October, I think it was. And I put them in little pots out the front of the house. And there they are. All in bloom. Aren't they pretty? And I put some in the back garden as well in another pot. And you can see there's just a couple of them up there. But they're all coming out. And I'd just like to say thank you very much for the things, Vera. Thank you, Mike. It's all about making life a little brighter in people's sad, lonely, pathetic lives. And I can see from here, from my list of people in front of me this evening, that most of you do indeed have sad, lonely, pathetic lives. But we'll talk about it a little bit later on. So thank you very much for that, Vera. She's loving the shirt this evening. Thank you, Vera. Mark Bowles is there. Evening, Mark. Welcome along, Mark. Who says, evening. Then he says something chops. Something Chops. Evening, Something Chops. I've just got home from my epic weekend. He's been at Butlins. Now, I'm not sure, was it, I'm imagining it was some sort of sports event, knowing you. Would it be like a darts, you're into darts, aren't you? Would it be like a darts thing or something like that? Of course, you do remember the very famous darts player, Ray Reardon. My dad was a fan of his. In fact, he turned up at a Pontins that we were staying at way back in the 70s. And my father was very, very excited to be able to meet him. And they used to go around the holiday camps and do a little bit of whatever it is, snookering. What do you call it, snookering? Do you call it that? Snookering that they did on the tables. And then you could go and chat with them afterwards. And yeah, I assume they earned a lot of money on that. Thank you, Mike. Mike likes the flower as well there. Okay, let's say hello to some of you there. If you want to text in, text numbers up there at the top there. Very easy to text. 07451 287 337 is your text number there, okay? 07451 287 337. Yes, indeed, Mark was at a darts weekend. Ray played snooker. Well, he did. It was snooker, wasn't it? Or was it one of those other ball on a table games? I mean, I can't get my head around it. Why people would want to, knock around little balls on a table in 6 holes or 8 holes or whatever it is. It's beyond me. We've got a snooker table. I think it's a snooker table. Or is it pool? That's not the same thing, is it, pool and snooker? Is it? Or is it billiards? Is it 3 games on like a table that is similar? And why are they different games? Why have they got different names? I don't get it. Different coloured balls. We've got one in the pub that I do the karaoke in. And that's always queuing up with people there. Mark, £28 for a jug of 4 pints of lager. I got through about 15 jugs. Oh, be careful, Mark. You know what it'll be like if you meet me when you're drunk. You'll get all airy and all coming on to me, dear. I know these straight blokes. They're all the bleeding same. 2 pints of lager, that's it. They're in there, mate. They're straight out. Oh, excuse me, mate. I like the game. You're quite looking. A bit like that, it'd be, wouldn't it? Yes, I know. Daddy knows. Mike's got flowers as well. What flowers have you got, Mike? Have you got daffs and snowdrops? Daffs and snowdrops at the moment. And very soon it'll be hyacinths. And then, crocuses. We should have some of those coming up at the moment as well. We do like our gardens. Evening to Gary Ross in the Ulster television area. Evening, Gary. Welcome along to you. Jack's there. Good evening, Jack. Long time no see. Are you ever going to turn up at my karaoke again, Jack? It's been about 800 years, isn't it? Hey, welcome, Jack. Mr. Bingo Tech there. Evening to you. Kevin Woodruff. Evening, Kevin. Welcome along to the show. There's our beautiful Glenda, who popped into the radio show as well the other day. And John Allensby there over on Facebook Live. Evening to you, John. I don't think Carl's here yet, is he? Carl isn't here yet. I just want to test something out with Carl. If you see our list of things to talk about there, we're going to lose our phone-in number. Or at least we are losing it with the provider that we've already got. Basically, which we don't use that often, to be fair. We used to use it. But I found opening a phone line resulted in loads of people asking one person to call in, but those people themselves never call in. I don't get it. Oh, go on, call in. Oh, go on, call in. But they don't call in themselves, which resulted in like 1 or 2 people calling in all the time. And the whole idea was to open it up to loads of people. So we don't really use the phone very much now. However, it's nice to have it just in case. Now, the way the phone line has operated here for, 6, 7, 8 years now, was via Skype. You probably know Skype. Years ago, it was one of the, if not the first way of communicating with people without using a phone. So, of course, generally, you're plugged into you've got your microphone, little microphone and headphones on, and you could Skype people through the internet completely free of charge. As time has gone on, we've got more and more different ways of doing that. And Skype was bought by Microsoft years ago. You may, of course, remember also MSN, Microsoft Messaging. That's not there anymore either. So they took it on. They changed bits of it, which in my mind made it not so good. For example, you would be able to ring, before Microsoft took it over, you could ring someone on Skype, using a Skype. My Skype username was United Kingdom Talk. And I also had a personal Skype as well. So I could use that to ring people, and it would ring on my computer, but not actually ring audibly, yeah? So you'd get like a message come up on the screen, someone is calling you, although you wouldn't be able to hear what was actually being... you wouldn't be able to actually hear the phone call coming in, which was brilliant because I could sit here doing a show and I could see a little thing flash up on the screen, and if you've called before, the name would come up and I'd be able to tell who you are before I actually answer the call, which was great. Microsoft took that away. So someone would now ring in and you get the bleeding ringing. So while I was talking, you're like, ring, ring, ring. Oh, it's so annoying. But what I did something with my mixer, which is the gadget that all the sound comes into. So I could push a button and stop that happening. But it was a bit of a workaround, if you see what I mean. So that was the first thing they did, and various other little bits and pieces. Anyway, so Microsoft offed it, and what's happened is that last week they've announced it's closing. Now, as I say, the way the phone number works, you would dial a number, as you know, a London number, which is still working, although I don't have it open at the moment, so you can't call in. If you call in now, you'll get an answer phone. 020 8144 3477 was the number, or is the number, and you could call in, and that call would come through Skype on the same little bit of software. So again, it would flash up on the screen. You wouldn't be able to hear it ringing until I pushed the button. So what I'd do, if I saw someone ringing, I'd then answer and quickly push the button, thus avoiding you hearing the ringing, as in, because that's like a bit unprofessional, you know what I mean? Not that I am a professional, as you well know. And that's how it works. The only thing is, Microsoft have announced from April, I think it is, April or May, Skype is closing. And that includes the Skype call-in number. So I lose it. Or at least I may lose it. I have since found that I can now use WhatsApp for people to call in, right? I actually have WhatsApp open here at the moment in front of me. I'm not sure what way the audio will come in. I don't know. Let me have a look. I don't think I can change... Is there settings on here? What's that there? Calls, chats. No, I can't see settings on there. There may be a way of changing the settings, but I've got WhatsApp open in front of me there, and I think I can use that for calls. The only thing is, it's my private personal number, and I don't really want to start broadcasting that all over the place, you know. But I gather what you can do is have a virtual number, connect it somehow to the WhatsApp, so then I can give that number if I want to do a phone in. We've tried it so many times before, phone ins, and they just don't really work. I don't know why. People are quite happy. It's the same on LBC, you know, sometimes. I've been listening to LBC, not during the daytime, but certainly at night time, where they're begging people to call in. They got pages and pages and pages of texts. People love to text all the time. You know, they've got pages of this stuff. But they don't... sometimes they really struggle for calls. So it's not just little old me sitting here on my own in my little spare bedroom, you know. An organisation like LBC and Talk Radio, they struggle too at certain times of the day to get anyone to call in, you know. But it's nice to have that facility ready. So I think I might be able to. So here's another bit of it. So I mentioned to you virtual number, which means... It's not like attached to a phone as such. Yeah? You've got to do stuff to it to make it ring on WhatsApp. Right? So you have to delete WhatsApp, reinstall it and put your virtual number into it. And that is how it kind of works. But in further investigations, which I was just doing before I started today, I think I can port my old Skype number into some sort of virtual number company. And sometimes that way. It sounds incredibly complicated, and indeed it is. But that's how I understand it. So we could be losing the phone-in number. So what I've got today is WhatsApp set up there. And I might ask Carl or anyone else who's got my WhatsApp to call in to see if that works and how it works, because I don't know. The only thing is it does look like it's on the same circuit as all the other sounds, so I might not be able to control it as it comes in so well. Mike says that's good if you can use a virtual number. I wasn't sure if you could do that. Yeah, I think you can. I think you can within WhatsApp. But like I say, I believe you have to delete your WhatsApp, then reinstall it, because I think it works somehow with the phone. I don't know how. Honestly, I don't know how. You have to delete it on the phone, then reinstall it, but set it up with the virtual number rather than your normal number. I don't know if you can have two numbers on it, but I mean, it's very, very complicated. So there we are. And that's what all that's about. Evening to Derek Martin joining us in the Republic of Ireland. Evening to Derek. Welcome along to our little Sunday night show there. Welcome to you, sir. Anyone texting in there? Don't forget the text number up there. 07451 287 337. Maureen's with us this evening. Evening, Maureen. Maureen's birthday on Tuesday. Bit of a big one. Happy birthday for Tuesday, Maureen. Unfortunately, she can't listen to our little radio show, but she's there with us tonight, and you were seeing her sing. I think, did she do the last song last night? I can't remember who it was now. Who did the last song? No, I think it was George last night who finished with I Am What I Am. I got a feeling we actually started with that as well last night, didn't we? It was a great night last night. We've had two really good karaokes down at the pub. And if you'd like to join us there, we're every Friday and Saturday night between 7:30 and 11 o'clock, okay? Karaoke at Central Station, Fridays and Saturday nights, 7:30 till 11 p.m. There's no charge to come in there. Get there nice and early, sit down. And of course, if you are a singer, and you don't have to be a singer, you don't have to be a singer on two counts, i.e., you don't actually have to want to sing. You can sit there and watch everyone else and kind of go around and talk to people. They like to be spoken to, the people doing the songs and what have you. Or you can come and have a go. Now, just because you come and have a go and stand on the stage, I don't expect you to be like Shirley Bassey or Robbie Williams or ABBA. You know, I don't care if you can't sing. There's plenty of us who can't sing. We just like to go up there and have a little bit of a laugh. If you're really a serious karaoke singer and you're very serious about it all, probably not the night for you, because we're just there to have a bit of a laugh. And I do have a little bit of a laugh, as you well know. All right. Mike says there's lots of options now. Discord WhatsApp. I don't know what that is. Discord WhatsApp. Facebook Messenger, Telegram. Yeah, you can do Facebook Messenger as well. You can call in on there. It's easy, really. Ever so easy to do any of these things. What tends to go wrong with what tended to go wrong with the Skype is when people were actually using it as Skype, you know, and they had a little microphone and headphones, and the amount of people that instead of using a phone decided to do it that way, and they couldn't bleed and do it. There'd always be like a loose connection, or you know, you can't hear that, or they can't hear you, something like that. You know, so one of those things there. Thank you, Kevin. Kevin's liking tonight's shirt, which of course comes from I can't think, Orlando in Florida, a shop called Robert Graham. Robert Graham. You can look them up on the internet. They got their own website, Robert Graham, okay? There's all these shirts. Believe me, there are a lot more on there than what I paid for these, because I went to one of those wonderful outlet places in Orlando, in Florida. There's two at the end of each end of International Drive. The better one is called Vineyard. That's the better one, Vineyard, okay, if you ever go to Orlando. But if you go to any part of America, generally they've got like some sort of big outlet place where you go and get cheaper, not cheap anymore, I'm afraid. Not like it was 10 years ago. No, the prices have gone right up, but still much cheaper than if you would be going into a normal shop or a mall. I'm sure Glenda knows exactly what I mean, these outlet places. So this cost me, I think, about 70 quid. £70, $85, and we ended up with a big pile of them. And they type in and tell you how much. It was $900, this pile. But then she done magic on the till and all these discounts, and it comes to something like 540 quid, which is about 500 quid altogether. I spent on quite a lot of shows, about 8 or 9 of them altogether there. So it was well worth it. And that was already in my mind. Thank you. He thinks it's snazzy, Mike. Thank you. That was already in my mind to do when I went, because I hadn't bought shirts for years. I mean years. Just a couple, maybe for my nephew's wedding, which was last year, which was great there. Vera, yes, indeed, you did start with that song. I thought so. So we top and tailed the karaoke last night with I am what I am. I am my own special creation. George finished it, and a bloke called, and he had a fantastic voice, the bloke who started last night. Was it, there was 4 letters, his name. Tibu? Something like Tibu. Something like that his name was. And he was French. Oh, what a voice. Now and again, you get someone on there who's got the most fantastic voice, you know, which makes 2 of us. That person and me. No one else could sing last night. It was just 2 of us. There you go. Glenda. A lot of the outlets have items that are flawed. That's the reason why they are cheaper. Yeah. So, I mean, you pick up the things and you have a look. I bought loads of trainers out there. Loads. As in 4 pairs altogether. And I don't suppose I spent more than £100 on those 4 pairs of trainers. Maybe a little bit more. 120 maybe. But they worked out to about £35 each. You know, these trainers a little while ago would have been £120, £150 one pair. I bought a specific pair of trainers for playing the organ at the church because it was slightly the feet are slightly narrower. Nauticals, I think they're called Nautica or something like that, which is like a sailing shop, you know. Jeff's there. Evening to Jeff. Hello to you, Jeff. A very good friend who used to own the caravan next to me up at the Luxury Waterside Media Centre, where we will be attending in April around Palm Sunday or something like that. Very much looking forward to that. All right, don't forget that text number 07451 287 337 if you want to send a text. Mark says you don't need a drink to give you the come on. Is that right? Is that right, Mark? Oh, you don't need a drink to give me a come on. Well, that is good news, love. Good news, darling. Do you get a little bit angry when you're drunk, Mark? You know, I don't know if I could be putting up with someone, you know, telling me what to do. Don't know about that. Anyway, let's get on. Another test drive. I did another test drive this week. My 3 years is up on my fantastic RAV4 car come September. And I've learnt over the years, when you start looking at wanting to replace the car, look 6 months ahead. Because sometimes it's a very long lead time. You just never know. Sometimes they're a little bit short of parts, or they're waiting for this, or they're waiting for that. Or they've got a lot... Sorry, I got... a cough started a couple of days ago. Or they've got, you know, a long list of people waiting for it. So I've learned to go in sort of 6 months before and start looking. If you're watching the show last week, I really wanted the same car that I've got now, which is a Toyota self-charging RAV4. They don't make them anymore, or at least they don't have them here anymore. So the next most similar model is the same, but it's a plug-in hybrid. Great news, except it's another £12,000. And the repayments go up from £360 a month to £550 a month on a car that I use about 10 times a month. I'm not much of a driver other than going to and from work and going up and down to Lincolnshire. Now, that was all right years ago. When I was working every night of the week, we could claim near enough all of that back off my tax as an expense because I'm self-employed. Now I only work 2 nights a week out of the 7, and you can't claim it all back. You know, it's not allowed to. You know, it's wrong, because I'm no longer. Well, I am using it for actually. Do you know what? Come to think of it, I am. I didn't think of that. I'm going to have a word with my accountant. I use it about 10 times a month, of which 8 times are for work. I never thought of that. I mean, it's different. If you're using it every day, that's a different thing altogether. 2 out of the 7 days, you're using it for work. Therefore, you only get, I don't know how it works. I mean, my accountant does all that. You would get 2/7, I suppose, of what it's costing you. If I'm using it only twice a week, but I don't use it on the other 5 days, I think I've mucked up here a little bit. I'm going to have a word with my accountant. Anyway, but I don't want to pay £550 a month for a bleating car. So last week I test drove the Yarris. Hello to a Bosch washer. In April, everything's going up. It's not fair. You're too right. It's not fair. Trains are going up today. Are you for real? What happened, Mr. Starmer? Oh, all the trains are going to be much better and it's going to be cheaper power. How many more lies are you going to tell, dear? Nothing's got cheaper. It's got worse. It's got worse. Isn't it? Did he not say, was it my ears? Was it my ears? Did he not say that everything's going to become cheaper? Power, electric's going up. And what I don't understand with the electric, sorry, we've gone away from the cars here. What I don't understand with the electric, right? They go on and on. We want to come off the gas. Everyone's got to be electrified and all this, Heat pumps are not so good. I've got some here, right? I'm telling you now, they're not as good as central heating. I've learnt that. But that's okay. I don't mind, right? I don't mind that I've learnt that. I'm still using the heat pumps and not the gas boiler, which is still connected and still operational, right? The thing is with the heat pumps, right, I've got one in here. The room will warm up very quickly, really quickly. But as soon as you turn it off, it's cold again. I know you could argue, well, with a gas boiler and radiators, you turn it off. Okay, it stays warm for a bit longer. But with these, I'm kind of heating up rooms. These are air conditioning units, and I have 4 in the house, right? But if you want people to make do electric, this is why they're not so good, right? When it's really cold, as in minus, they're working and they're okay, but then they stop working for about 10 minutes or so. They freeze up outside and they have to defrost. And while they're defrosting, guess what? You get cold again because there's no hot air coming out. And when they do come back on, for a moment or two, you get coming out freezing cold air. Bear in mind it's minus outside. That's why I don't think they're so good. With a gas boiler, it comes on and it stays on with the thermostat, on, off. It stays on until you turn it off again. With these air-to-air things that I've got in here, they warm up very quickly, quicker than a boiler, quicker than radiators, right? But in very cold weather, they completely freeze up outside and then they stop working for 5-10 minutes. Not so bad in the house, but you do notice it. Oh, it's gone cold. And then you look up, there's a little flashing light on it, which tells you outside is defrosting. Not so bad in the house. In the caravan, because it's like being in a car. You know how it is. You're driving along in the car and it's all nice and warm. The heating's on and all that business. Then you turn the heating off. Oh, it's so hot in here. Turn the heating off. How quickly do you have to turn that thing back on again? Minute? 2 minutes maybe? Except here, you can't do that because you have to wait for it to defrost. So, I don't think they're as good as boilers. Plus, why is it when the price of the gas and the electric goes up, why is it the electric always goes up more than the gas? It's that toothy bloke. What's his name? Oh, no. Oh, I'm in charge of all the electric and gas now. We're going to do great business energy. What's his name? What's that bloke's name? I can't remember. He was the leader of the Labour Party. Hello, I'm the leader of the Labour Party. What's that name? What's his name? Someone tell me his name again. I can't remember. You'd think all that money as an MP would get his bleeding teeth done, wouldn't you? The one who ate the bacon... I love bacon sandwich, please. Can I have a bacon sandwich? That one. Someone tell me his name quick. I can't remember his bleeding name now. What was it? Dreadful. Was it Ed? Ed. It's Ed something, isn't it? Not Ed Balls, not Ed Daly. What's his name? Come on, someone must know. Dear me. Glenda says, is it true the UK no longer has free speech? No, well, they would have got rid of me ages ago. Glenda. That's not Ed Nilivan. Hello, my name's Ed Nilivan. And I look at that electric and gas. Electric. Let's get rid of all gas. I want electric only. Everyone needs electric cars. That bloke. Ed Miliband, that's the one. Hello to D Brown. -20 in Montreal. Have a great day, Chris. Thank you. Have you got heat pump there? Bleeding hell. That would freeze up outside, wouldn't it? So, if you are thinking about the heat pump thing, that is my experience. Okay? That's my experience. I have air-to-air, which means basically they're air conditioning units. They do chuck out cold air in the summer fantastically. They are good at warming the house up fairly quickly. But now and again, they freeze up outside and they switch off for anywhere between sort of 5 and 10 minutes while they're defrosting. And then they come back on again. You generally get a little bit of cold air first. And that's just it, you know. But what, you know, if they want us to all go electric, why is it that the electric prices go up more than the gas? I mean, it doesn't make bleeding sense, does it? It's like, you know, we should all be travelling on trains and not on planes. Well, why is it £300 for a Scotland ticket, you know, up to Inverness on the train return, £300, or on the plane, British Airways economy, about 80. Crazy. What person in their right mind would go on a train and spend £300 instead of 80? You're going to make it cheaper. I mean, they're as thick as planks, these people run in this country. Electric cars. Why do you expect people, and many people cannot afford it. They've got a little diesel run around that they've had for 20 years and, you know, just about managed to keep it on the road. You hit them with the tax, you hit them with the petrol. And you want them to spend, God knows, £30,000 minimum on a Chinese electric car. Now, I don't know anything about cars, really. Not really. I think I know that an electric car has a lot less moving parts than a petrol or diesel car, right? That being said, presumably there's little computers and things in that can go wrong that you wouldn't have in a petrol car. I don't know. You know. Chinese cars, I know nothing about. I mean, Japanese cars, I know a little bit about in that they are the most reliable ones. When you get these things like What Car and all this business, it's always the Jap ones that are at the top. And near the bottom, you got the luxury brands like BMW. And Land Rover always does particularly badly. Never really seen Chinese cars as part of that. So really, What Car needs to do a list and include the Chinese cars. BWD. It was another one I saw the other day that we mentioned last week. Big old chunky front, and I like that. I like a big chunky car. I'm not into like performance cars like Ferrari and Porsche. No, yeah, I can leave those. Thank you very much. I don't need to be flash with a car. Car of choice, we were saying last week, for me would be a Bentley. Yeah, I can't ever see me owning one of those, you know, because I'm too tight to put the petrol in to get 2 miles a gallon. But there's a beautiful car, the Bentley, an old one with a proper face, you know, something like that. Chinese cars, I know nothing about. I mean, they might be perfectly all right. I don't know. All I know is that sometimes I think when you go into a car showroom, it gives you sort of some idea of how it might be when something goes wrong, or you need a little bit of a service or something like that. And my mate, was it last year or the year? I think it was the year before, actually. It was his turn to change his car. And we went into MG in Reading or Guildford or Slough, one of those places. We went into MG, and I thought, what a shithole this is. You're looking around, and the place could have done, there was a little plasterboard wasn't quite matching up in this showroom, and the bloke on the desk didn't really look that interested. When we went to hand the car back, my mate had some questions to ask. Well, they're all in a meeting. They're all in a meeting in an office with glass windows and doors, so we could see them in there. And there's a girl sitting on there. And, we want to see the Oh, they're all in a meeting at the moment. Right, okay. Well, can you tell someone else? Someone's out here. I've got some questions to ask about the car I might be buying. Oh, well, they're in a meeting and they'll probably be finished about half an hour. Would you like to wait? No, we bloody well wouldn't. Do you want our money or not? And it was a bit blokey. You could hear now and again a little cheer went up. That's not how to speak to customers, is it? Awful. In complete contrast to that, when you go into the Toyota garage, it's all very proper. There's a lady, and she's a delightful lady. She's been there for years. Suzanne. As you walk in, it was Gemco Toyota in Bracknell, right? You walk in, she's in the middle of this. Hello, Chris, how are you? Can I make you a cup of tea? What are you in for today? And it's all very much like that. It's all very friendly. It's very clean. You've got the salesman wandering around in suits as usual. I'm not a fan of salesmen. I just can't cope with them. They get on my bleeding nerves. Bear in mind, you go past a certain age. We've seen it all before. All the crap coming out of their mouths, But nevertheless, it looked like a well-looked-after garage, and it was clean. And you got the service next to there, nice seats, all clean, properly lit. And you think, yeah, they care about their products and their customers. Whereas the MG garage, I thought, I don't... Do you know what I mean? It looked like a temporary place. So that's what put me off. The way you present something, I think, makes a difference. Like when you go to a restaurant or something like that. You don't want it all just chucked on the plate, do you? With it all like little peas over there, carrots over there, and all that. No, not all mixed in together. There you go, mate. Like at school. Oh, dear me. Let's just scroll there. All the bosses at gas and electric companies on massive pay rises while everybody freezes. Yeah, and giving out the profits to all the bleeding all the shareholders. Terrible state of affairs. Mike's dad used to have a Bentley. Lovely. What, an old one? Oh, I think you've got to have an old one, haven't you? What's the other one? Was it Jaguar? Jaguar with the woke adverts. What's all that about? Dear me, horrible looking cars. Horrible looking cars, Jag. You've just destroyed your main base. Your main customer base. All blokes. I don't want to see that on the telly. I'm telling you, this is a gay man, yeah? They're I don't know who's running some of these companies. They are as thick as planks, most of them. Thick as planks. Was one of the old ones, was it? Lovely, Mark. Lovely, Mark. George Bond is here. Evening to George. Hello to Sharon Stoned. Hello, Sharon. She was one of our lovely black cap girls. Hello, Sharon. Evening to Luke in Peterborough. They've ruined BBC local radio. Oh, that's been going on for years, mate. It's been going on for years. The destruction of British radio. It's destroyed. You're lucky. You might get a little local, what are they called? Community radio station, depending on where you are. If not, internet radio is the way to go. There's some real gems on internet radio. I like to recommend my friend Ross Patzelt. He's on reachonair.com, Mondays, Wednesdays and Thursdays. 11 a.m. to... 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Sometimes he does 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. when he can be asked, which isn't very often. But I'd like to recommend him. I'd like to recommend to you another friend of mine. Try him out tonight, Luke. Alan Ross. Alan Ross. He's on Reach on Air. He's on Friday to Wednesday nights. So that's tonight, yeah? 12 midnight to 1 a.m. Very good. Very, and you can tell people that put an effort into making the show. I like to think that I put an effort in. You know, I do a show on there as well. Okay, that's Monday to Friday. Where are we? Let's have a little look there. There you go. Monday to Friday between 10 and 11 o'clock in the morning. Sorry, 9 and 10 in the morning. There's the ways you can watch. It's also on TikTok as well. Okay, that's how you can watch me and listen. And that's at 9 till 10 tomorrow morning. And if you can't do the morning, I do one Tuesday night show. That's between 9 and 11 o'clock on Tuesday night. That's on reachsonair.com. And you can watch it as well, either on TikTok or Twitch. Sadly, not on YouTube because of copyright restrictions on there. Okay? But you're quite right. They've ruined BBC Local Radio. But that's another subject altogether. I could sit here all night talking about that. It's criminal. I don't know why they bother the BBC doing local radio anymore. Just stop. If you're going to destroy it that much, you might as well just give it all up and save the money. Local radio, BBC Local Radio, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't cost them an awful lot of money. They don't save a lot of money when they start cutting things. Where you save a lot of money is television. That's where the money is. That's what costs an awful lot of money, television. And quite frankly, the BBC, they waste so much money. You know, like when you listen to someone on the radio, there'd be the bloke or the beautiful lady doing a show. There'd be a producer in another little way. There'd be a tech operator. There'd be people in the back office working on stuff. This show is me. That's it. Why have they got all these people? What a bloody waste of money. Ross, he's on his own. Alan Ross, he's on his own. We haven't got backup staff doing stuff and answering phones. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Evening to Tommy Hanlon. Hello to you, Tommy. Welcome back. It's been a while, hasn't it, Tommy? Welcome back to the show. Gavlar's there on TikTok. Evening, Gavlar. This is the first time we've been on TikTok doing this, so welcome along if you're on there. And do share the show, please, if you don't mind. If you want to. You don't have to. Hello to Kaisko Beach, number 7, I think it is. Fun thing to do with text. Mr. Spark is there. Evening, Chris. I hope you're well. On the subject of train fares, it's ridiculous. Going from Cornwall to Edinburgh, it would cost just over £500. For me in the wife, and the hotel was about £490. Cornwall to Edinburgh, £500. I presume that's booking in advance, is it? Crazy money. I'm convinced that these governments don't want anyone to travel around anymore. I'm convinced of that, which is a bit funny, really, considering they want another Heathrow runway, don't they? They want to build another Heathrow runway. They want another one at Gatwick, but they kind of already got one at Gatwick, which is an emergency. They just have to do a bit to it to make it permanent, right? So quite frankly, I don't know why the people are moaning, the ones that live around Gatwick. I suppose it would be more air traffic there. But the way I understood it, it was going to be like, it was either going to be Heathrow or Gatwick. Now it looks like they're both getting one. I can't work it out. Not that anyone can afford to fly anymore. That's bleeding expensive as well. Although I have been elevated to British Airways Silver Member. Thank you very much. British Airways. So what does that mean? Well, you get certain benefits, one of which I can now book my seat in advance for no extra cost. Happy days. I've been elevated, Mike. Elevate it. Fun things to do with tech. This National Express and Megabus, the ones I used all the time. I put the prices up, but cut the stops. The world has gone crazy. Is it? I presume it's much easier to go on a National Express coach. Do they have toilets? You see, this is the thing with coaches, toilets. I got a little bit of a tummy problem, and sometimes I need to go, or I have trouble going, which is the case at the moment. Last 2 or 3 weeks, anyway. And I can't be going on an item of transportation without a toilet on it. Do those National Express coaches have toilets on? If I remember rightly, the only coach I've ever been with a toilet on it, you had to go downstairs. You had to go down some stairs. I can't remember now. God, what if it goes round the corner and you slip off the seat and end up on the bloody floor? Hello to Dionysus, Greek Gog. Evening to you. Hey, look, Text Sparky, you can go from Newquay Airport to Edinburgh less than £100 each way for me and the wife. Whereas he was saying it's £500 each by train. It's just ridiculous. Ridiculous. Thank you, Mike. Most don't. Here you are. Most coaches don't have toilets on. If they do, it's downstairs and tiny. Yeah, it's no good if you've got a fat arse, is it? I have trouble getting my arse in a normal toilet door, let alone a little one. It's terrible. When I'm on the plane and I want to use the toilet, I have to ask the assistants. I have to ask for assistance from one of the delightful cabin crew. What I do is I open the door and I have to say to the girl or boy, I said, excuse me, and I have my back to the door and they have to push me in because my arse won't go through the door. It's so fat. Sorry, could you? They push and and I go bang down on the seat like that. Here's a word of advice: never ever flush an aircraft toilet when you're sitting on it because you can be sucked down the hole. Very dangerous things. Airplane toilets. My sister just point blank refuses to use one anymore. She nearly had. She accidentally leant on the flush button. Well, she nearly had all her inside sucked out down into the toilet. Her husband, Martin, was banging her. Are you all right, Sharon? Sharon, you all right? Paris had thought that she wouldn't have been able to make it for the next video. My brother-in-law and sister do a video on YouTube. It's called the Butler's Empire channel. Join them tonight from 8 o'clock for their latest premiere. Okay, by the way, did you see the bike that he built on Butler's Empire channel the other day? I think it was on a Butler's Empire channel. I think. Did you see that new bike he's got that he built? Did you see the light? The size of the light on the front of this little electric bike? Looked more like a motorbike to me. It was huge, this thing, wasn't it? Huge, some of those bikes. Hello to Lovely Lamb Lunch. You're back again today. Welcome along to you. I'm just scrolling down quickly to try and see anyone we missed out. Hello to Ellie. Good evening to Ellie. Daryl Cole is in the house. Evening, Daryl. There's Carl. Evening to Carl. How are you, darling? Carl says some do have toilets on the National Express. But there's a song, isn't there, National Express, that some people do sometimes. Hello there. Train prices. Keir Starmer gave train drivers a £10,000 pay rise. That's right, £70,000 a year. I've never been on that. £70,000 a year. What do you do with all that money? What do you do with all that? Don't get me wrong, I'm all right. I'm okay. The thing is, it's like with pensions, and then people say to me, oh, why don't you take someone a pension out and buy whatever you want? If I bought the car I wanted with what I've got in my private pension, that would completely clear me out. One car. You have to be careful with these things, I just talking of pensions the other day, it's all a bit of a gamble, really. You've got that amount in the bank or with your pension provider. Now, I might die in a minute's time, and then all that money would at some point have gone to my sister, but now it won't. That bitch, Rachel from accounts, has decided to drag it into the inheritance tax thing. I don't know if that started yet, actually. Probably in April. I don't know. She's dragged it into that, you see. So now you'll get taxed on it if I die, so my sister won't get all of it. Or I could go on for 40 or 50 years. So that's, and do you see what I mean? It's a gamble. Do you leave it or do you spend it? Very, very difficult to do. I haven't touched it yet. And it's been sort of ready for 5 years there. Shania's here. Evening, Shania. Hello to you. Carl's going to Paris. Bonsoir, Marie. On the Eurostar. Lovely. Bosch. Keir Starmer, the Farmer Harmer. Rachel Reeves, Granny Freezer. Rachel from accounts, that's her name, isn't it? Thank you. Hello to Stephen Petty. Evening, Stephen. He's up in Lincoln. Hello to Stephen and Emily in Lincoln. Take care. Have a good evening. Thank you to you two for texting in there. Mark Bowles, how many times have you had your inside sucked out? Well, I'm very careful, Mark. If I'm using a plain toilet, I always make sure I get up before I push that awful flush. The noise, dear. It goes, and you can hear it sucking all the stuff out, can't you? Where does that go? Does it just get dropped out into the ocean somewhere? Or does another machine come along with a great big pipe and suck it away? My sister don't like this sort of talk. She says, why do you always talk about poo? I don't, darling. I don't. Thank you very much. 07451 287 337. Let's see, who's this? Vera. HMRC permits self-employed people to claim a fixed mileage allowance to cover motoring expenses. I'm going to have a word with my accountant because I never thought of that. Okay, I was working 7 nights a week some years ago now. Now I only work 2 nights a week, but I don't use the car other than those 2 nights. I don't use it for travelling around here. Never. Not really. Unless it's really pissing down with rain. If it's pouring down and it's a Sunday morning and I'm going to the church, I'll get it out. But that's very rare. Very rare. I'll have to have a word with him and see what he says there. Right. Carl, are you there? I wonder, do you mind testing out my little WhatsApp? Do you mind doing that? And hang on, let me just put my speaker on. There we are. Is that on? Yeah, that's on there. Would you call me on my WhatsApp, Carl? And then I can see if it works or not. Because I've actually got WhatsApp up on the computer tonight, ready in case you're around to test it out. So would you mind giving me a call on the WhatsApp? And I'd appreciate that if you're still there, Carl. Paul and Lou says, who sits on the loo and flushes? Well, from some people who want a cheap thrill, I would imagine, Paul. I would imagine you're someone that would like to do something like that just to see what happens. You know, do you remember? Do you remember when you was a little child and you would do dangerous things just to see what happened? Anyone ever do that? It's Carl's gone already, has he? Oh, he's another one. Once he's heard his name read out, he's gone, mate. Carl, are you still there? Call me. Let me send him a text. I'll send him a text. Like I say, the trouble at the moment with the WhatsApp is that it is my private number, and I don't want that one going out. Hang on, what's he said there? Ring me. WhatsApp me if poss. There we go. And then I can just see if it works, and if it does, I'll have a look into getting a virtual number, which I think is about £6 a month or something like that. I can just about stomach that. Do you know what I mean? Where were we? We talked about MG cars, yeah, Chinese cars and all that. Don't really know much about Chinese cars. They may be perfectly all right. I mean, a lot of the stuff we've got, electrics, televisions, my solar panel inverters, which is, not to be technical, it's something you need for the panels to make the electric. That's all Chinese stuff. It all works all very well. So why not the cars? My mate suggested a Duster car. Now, I think that's Indian, but honestly, the prices of those are very, very acceptable. Very acceptable. I just don't really know anything about an Indian car. You know, that being said, they seem to be selling quite a few of them, don't they? Bosch says the toilets on the plane, the waste is stored in plane tanks. Thank you very much. What do they do with that? They spread it on a field somewhere. You know, oh, God. God knows what I'm eating with those carrots there. Tommy Flynn there. Evening to Tommy. Welcome along to the show, Tommy. We've got a nice little crowd here today, haven't we? Thanks very much for joining us. So, going back to my test drive, I started this story about 45 minutes ago, didn't I? I haven't got there yet. So, I test drove a Yarris. So, a Yarris is going down one from the RAV4, not in class. Class doesn't bother me, okay? Seriously, I know I have a little joke with you now and again. I don't care what class you are, whether you're doing your shopping in Aldi or you're shopping in Fortnum and Masons, or I couldn't care less. Class, nothing. I don't care what people are. I like to consider myself working class, really. I'm nothing special. I know I play at it, but you know me very well. You know I'm playing at it sometimes, right? Okay? So when I say it's down one, I don't mean down a class, because it's a Toyota. That's it. Toyota, they're all the same class, where you've got the great big one or the little one. And there's the answer. It's a slightly smaller one. Okay? The Yarris. Now, immediately, it's lower down. Okay? However, they do a Yarris Cross, which is kind of like a mini RAV4, which is what I've got now. I have had a Yarris before. About 8 years ago now, I had a Yarris, and it was all right. It was a nice little car. Before that, I had a Toyota Igo, which was even smaller, and I was happy with that. But remember, I've had a RAV4 now for about 8 years. This is the third one. So Thursday, we took out the Yarris Cross. This time I had my mate with us, and we got in the car, and off we went. Nice speed, really. Quite able to pick up the speed quite quickly. But within a minute or two, I thought, this is a bit pokey in here. Do you know what I mean? I felt enclosed. And for some reason, I didn't feel particularly safe. It's not as low. The Yarris Cross is not as low down as a Yarris, but it is still lower down than my RAV4. And we went out for no more than about 20 minutes or something like that. And my mate says, "Oh, I really don't like this." And I said nothing. I just carried on with my test drive. He's sitting next to me. And I said, and as we turned round we went round a roundabout, because we're kind of on one of those AM motorways, you know what I mean? So not an M motorway, like an AM or whatever, you know what I mean? And we turned round a roundabout and coming back, I said, "You know what? Nah, this isn't me at all." He said, "No, it's not. You don't look right sitting there." And I also felt we were kind of leaning towards each other. Does that make sense to you? In this car, we were kind of leaning. He was like that way, and I was like that way. I said, "Am I leaning towards you?" He said, "Yeah, you are." I'm completely unaware that I was doing it. I think whereas that door was a bit closer than what I'm used to, or at least in my mind it was, and I thought, I don't like this at all. Anyway, we took it back, and then the little salesman, his same sales salesman, what's his name? Assad. Nice bloke, but he's about 10 years old. And he thinks he's going to do all the salesman bullshit that the old blokes have done to me for over years. I've heard it all before. Please stop saying the same crap I'm used to. And no. So I said no, and then on the way I said, "I'll tell you what. Do you fancy going back to Honda?" I say back to Honda. I've already test drove the Honda HRV, right? At a place called Ottershaw, Trident Autos. But there's also one in Reading, and we were near Reading, so I looked it up. 10 minutes. Okay. I haven't got an appointment. Let's just go down there and have a look. So I went down there. Now, he's always slagged off Honda. Old man's cars. Hello, I am 62 now. Old man's cars who drive slowly all the time. Well, that's me anyway. And he's always slagged off Honda cars. Anyway, I said, "Look, just come and have a look. So I took him down. And we got in this showroom. And I said, and there was exactly the model, although a higher spec one. I always go for a low spec. I don't need a heated steering wheel. And all these other little bits, the sports pack, this pack. Oh, thank you very much. Another £2,000. Don't want it. Oh, what about the little stuff that you spray on the paint to keep it nice? No, don't want it. Don't want any of it. You're just bog standard basic car. I might choose a paint colour, because they never have the colour you want as one of the free ones, do they? White. Oh yeah, I don't want white. Why do I want white? It's a racist colour. We can't have race. I want red or blue. I wasn't keen on the blue that they had, so the red, thank you very much, that's another £950. I'll swallow that. And also decent sound. I mean, to be fair, most modern cars have got decent sound in them. You don't actually need 10 speakers, but I will listen to it. And what's that sound like? Oh, that's a bit iffy. Very important to me to have decent sound in the car. So the sound and the paint, and that's about it. I don't need any of these other little things. Oh, cameras in the wings. I've got wing mirrors. Why do I need bloody cameras in there for another £400 and all this business? And maybe, I tell you, maybe the other thing to have is the camera at the back and the front, constantly recording. Especially driving in and out of London, these arseholes on their bloody scooters and bikes, and those people that they jump on your They jump on your bonnet and say, "Oh, you've hit me." No, you haven't. You've just jumped on the bonnet. Oh, no, the police will believe me. No, they won't. I've got a camera. You're all on camera, mate. Piss off. You know, bit like that. Not having any of that, thank you very much. So I might have the cameras as well. Anyway, so I showed them this. I said, he said, "Oh, it's nice, Chris." I said, "I knew you'd like it." Sit in it. So he sat in it. And where nice. This is a bloke came over. Nice bloke. Kareem was his name. Very nice to look at. About 32, 33 years old. You know, I started on him straight away. Started the gay bullshit all straight away. So, nice. I said, "Have you been here long?" I said, "Do you live local, do you?" Was that with your girlfriend? "Oh, no, I haven't got a girlfriend." Happy days! Happiness! Happiness! You know. I got the multicoloured handkerchief out and started blowing my nose to give him a clue that I was going. Anyway. So then I went over and I had a word with him and he was doing some numbers and the numbers looked fine. The numbers looked fine. They certainly weren't anywhere near £550 a month, let alone £450. In fact, it wasn't even £350. But they hadn't valued my car properly. Just give a rough estimate. Okay. So that was looking good. Oh, where's my mate? Oh, he's over in the blue one over there. Look at the blue one. Oh, it's a similar car. Oh, yeah, that's the ZRV, which has got a more powerful engine in it. Okay. So I think the HRV is 1.5. The ZRV, I think, is 2. So there'll be a difference. So we're going back down to Honda tomorrow, 1 o'clock actually, tomorrow, Honda, and trying out the 2 cars. I've got 2 test drives. First, that one, which I've already test drove once down somewhere else, and also the what did I say? It was the ZRV. Did I say Z? Sorry, ZRV. The ZRV, which is the faster model. And we'll see what's what there. I'm not... You see, the thing is, I don't drive fast anyway. Do I need a fast car? Well, it does help you, you know, if you're in a situation, doesn't it? You know, you need to get out of it quickly, you know. Like someone running at you with an axe. Like that. Something like that. So there we are. Anyway, that's the car news. And so it's no for the Yarris Cross, I'm afraid. Which is a shame. My neighbour's actually got a Yarris Cross and he likes it very much. He really likes it. Let me just scroll up here. Bosch, Toyota are very reliable. Exactly. And I said this all along. That's why I'm going for another Japanese car. Honda are kind of on the same level as Toyota. I did also consider the Nissan we talked about this last week, the e-Power or something, and I cannot get my head around it. Basically, they're electric motors driving the wheels. But it's a petrol car. The petrol you put in to charge a battery which drives the wheels. Well, anyone who knows a little bit of physics, and don't get me wrong, I'm not an intelligent person when it comes to science and all that, but I know there are losses. So you go from petrol to electric, and then electric to... It doesn't make sense to me. And I just feel that's something else to go wrong, which you don't really need. I think it's all to do with... people that want to drive an electric car but don't want to go full electric. I think it's to do with that, and that's why they've bought that in. And I'm not convinced by that at all, the way that thing works there. All right. Did we get Carl back at all? No. You see, he's disappeared now. Oh, how annoying is that? Now, has anyone else got my private number? Anyone got my private number? Say yes, and I might get you to call in and do it. We've done that. Hang on a minute. Let me just close those. I've got a bit confused here with my text. I'm just going to close all the text there, right? Okay. So if you've got text there that hasn't come up, can you put it through again and I'll do it? I've still got the bleeding karaoke requests up there from last night. Carl, could you call my WhatsApp? I just want to see how well this works, if it does work, and if so, I'll know it does, and I'll look into this virtual number thing. That is thing. No, not a text, darling. A call. Can you call me via WhatsApp? Oh, there you go. Listen, look at that. I thought that might come through the same circuit. Hello, Carl. All right.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, that works great. That works great. That does. You all right?
Good, thank you.
Would you like to tell us where you are and how cold it is at the moment, dear?
I'm in Screen Lake, upstate New York. What time is it now? It's about 2:05.
In the afternoon.
Yeah, in the afternoon.
Right.
Minus 15.
That's centigrade, is it?
Yeah.
Oh my God. You can't have gone out much. I've seen pictures of you in the snow and all that business. It's not my idea
Yeah,
of fun.
you can't go out that much.
No.
No.
Tell me, so you've got the same air source heat pumps as I have there. They're double up as air conditioning ones, aren't they? So it's air to air, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
How often do they freeze up?
Well, tonight we're about minus 25.
Gosh.
So the risk is medium. So, but as long as the house is warm,
yes,
it will stay warm.
But
and we'll continue flowing air.
Do they not freeze and then defrost? And then come
They
on
do
again?
freeze. Unless you don't have the fireplace on.
Right, okay. But the you know the fan unit or the fan units, they're outside, aren't they?
Yeah.
Right? So it's that what freezes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. So once it's frozen, then it stops working. How long does that stop working for? Is it like 10 minutes and then it comes back on again, or what?
Until the temperature is more above freezing.
What? So once it's gone off, that's it, is it? It just stays off until the next day?
Until whenever it's above freezing.
So are you saying, right, it can go off and it can be off for days?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Same for bathroom
useless. So they're not really as good as boilers, are they?
No.
When it comes to heating up somewhere. You see, this is where they're lying to people. I mean, I've tried all winter to not use gas at all. I've had it on a couple of times, and the only reason I've had it on a couple of times, Carl, is to keep the water going through, if you see what I mean, you know, because otherwise it'll all seize up and then it becomes expensive.
Our house here, it's run by electricity.
Right.
There's no gas.
Right. Okay.
Occasionally our hot water will go.
Yeah.
Because of the temperature.
Right.
Cold water will go, as in the temperature as well. Yeah.
See, I know not as bad as you're actually living somewhere permanently, but up at the caravan, I have had occasions where you've turned the water on, no water, and that's just awful. I mean, it's easy enough to go and buy a couple of bottles of water down. Oh, you'd have to get in the car to do it. Go and get a couple of bottles. What's not so easy is if you need to flush the toilet. Oh my God! It just builds up. Oh. I think I would be tempted to jump over the fence and go and dig a hole in the field. But then you'd get a cold arse, wouldn't you?
You would. Not as cold as here, though.
No, I suppose not. Well, thanks for trying that out, Carl. I do appreciate that.
No worries.
Have a nice evening.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
There we go. Well, that works all right, doesn't it? Eh? Calls coming in off WhatsApp. I'm happy with that. I'll look into that for a future then. Bosch says mine is a ground-based heat pump. Ah, I know what you mean. You must have a big garden then. That's another thing, boys and girls. If you don't know what a ground-based heat pump thing is, so they dig up your garden, right? And there's a couple of different ways of doing it. If you've got a big garden, they will dig down and put a long pipe round and round and round like that, up and down, and it goes into a boiler, some sort of heat exchange thing, and that draws the heat out the ground. Okay, that's another way of doing it. If you haven't got the space, but you have a small garden, there's another way to do it, and that is to have one of those massive, great, one of those. Oh, you haven't got that. You live in a tower block. So it's a communal thing, is it? like a communal thing. The other way they can do it, if you haven't got a massive garden for ground based, they get one of those great big drills, and they go down and down and down and down, and they put a pipe that goes all the way down and then comes all the way back up again. That's the other way they do that. I know quite a lot about all this stuff. George, can you not use your text-in number, what you use on YouTube, to put on WhatsApp? No, I don't think you can. I'm having to look into this at the moment, George, because I'm not sure how to do it there. All right. Anyway, that's the car story there. And I do think I'm going to end up with a Honda. I do actually think I'm going to end up with a Honda. I also have a test drive of the plug-in RAV4. I just want to see what it's like. It's supposed to be really fast. But like I say, I'm not a fast driver. The only time I'd want to go fast is to get out of perhaps a tricky situation. Maybe you've pulled out and you haven't been paying attention. We all do it. You've pulled out in front of someone and you need to get in front of them, as in move away from them quickly. So you put your foot down to zoom just for a few moments, to increase the gap between you and the car behind. You could do that, I suppose, couldn't you? All right, I showed you Vera's daffodils. Kittens. Who likes kittens? Here, kitty, kitty. Here, kitty, kitty. Of course, some of you know from Vera from Vera's Choice in the Morning, her pussycat song that sometimes she sings, which is lovely, isn't it? So one or two of you like kittens. Would you like to see my mate's kitten? Its name is Jasmine, okay? And it's starting to get a little bit bigger now. It's a very naughty kitten. But this week was a highly pleasurable experience. First of all, you go in and it sits there looking at you, and then you start moving your hand, like that. Say if I'm on his settee and I move my hand along the settee like that, and you watch this, and she crouches down, ready to attack. And she jumps up and tries to get your hand. Sometimes she succeeds, and she ends up, and you can actually pick up your hand, and she is actually attached to the skin. And you pick her up. Anyway, I made a little video of his kitten this week. There she is. This is Jasmine. That's my hand there. Look at that beautiful little thing. And she's gorgeous. Jasmine. There was at one point she was jumping up like a bleating kangaroo to that little floating thing that I've got there. But she's so lovely. She's not too much being picked up and cuddled, but actually a lot of cats are like that. And there she is. I've been wanting to show you that for ages. Isn't she gorgeous? Well, on Thursday, I think I was up at his house Thursday, so I'm sitting there. She comes over. They're only, when they're little, they kind of walk over funny, don't they, like that. And she sits just at the bottom of the settee and she's looking up like that. And I'm looking down, all right, like that. She looks up like that. And then she jumps up next to me on the settee and then sits there looking at me. You all right? And I went over to stroke her. Usually she'd grab your finger and start biting it for some reason. I think she thinks that everything is something to eat. Mind you, not so bad as dogs that tend to eat things like socks and remote controls. I always remember my niece telling me when they had a dog. They don't have this particular dog anymore. She spent a while chasing it around a field. There was something hanging out of its arse, and it was a sock. Oh, we love pets, don't we? Cats are not so bad as that. But this one does that. Anyway, she didn't do it. I went like that, and she said, oh, her little eyes like that. Anyway, I moved my hand back again. And then she sat there for a few moments looking at me. And then she proceeded to walk over. My feet were kind of up like that on a footstool, crossed legs. She walked up onto my leg, walked down, turned around and settled right in between my legs and went asleep. Oh, she chose me. She chose me. Cats choose you. There was a lovely story I saw on TikTok, I think it was, a few days ago. And it was this boy. Boy was not old. And he wanted a cat. And he went to this cat's home. Not kittens. What do you call them? Older cats. Rescue cat. And they opened the cage. And this ginger cat just launched himself or herself, I don't know if it was a girl or a boy, launched herself at this boy, jumped up onto his chest, and like that, all round his face, like that. That's the one. That's the one. The cat chose him, you see. That cat was very super intelligent. It knew if it did that. Yeah, there you go. Do you still have Gary the cat? No. Gary wasn't mine. Gary the cat wasn't mine. It was a neighbour. And she moved a couple of years ago now. There's another cat that visits now called Angel. She's a little ginger thing. And she comes over. Meow. She runs in the door. She don't wait to be invited. She just runs in the door. I do like them. Where we got to? Mandy's there. Evening to Mandy Davenport. Evening to Mandy. Welcome along to you. Nice to have you along as well this evening there. So that's Ronnie's kitten there. What's the traffic like generally where you live as a matter of interest? Eh? I've had quite a nice couple of days, to be honest, driving to work on a Friday and a Saturday night. Usually it can be anything up to 2 hours. There have been occasions where it's been 2 hours and 15 minutes. Bear in mind it's only 35 miles to get to work. Right? But the time that I have to be there is when all the traffic's around, and it is horrendous. The worst time is October, November, December, and it starts gradually creeping up the time. And there were times in December it was taking me an hour, 2 hours and 15 minutes to get to work. There was one night it took me 2.5 hours. Well, the job's only 3.5 hours long. It's terrible at the moment, but at the weekend, Saturday and Friday was about an hour and 25 minutes. Happy days, not too bad at all. But the Sun reports the UK's most congested areas. What's it like where you are, and where are you, as a matter of interest? If you come out sort of, traffic time, I don't know, 8 till 9 in the morning and 4 till 7 at night. What's it like where you are? Is it bad? How bad is it? It says the UK's most congested areas where you're highly likely to get stuck in traffic have been revealed. Surrey has taken the top spot. New research was calculated by looking at the total volume of all vehicle traffic miles, number of licensed vehicles, and their annual daily traffic flow in 2023 shows the places across the country that are particularly frustrating for drivers. And right at the top there was Surrey, which is not far from here. I'm in Berkshire, which is next to Surrey, but apparently that's the worst place. Followed by Essex. Oh my God, is it the A11 in Essex? I think it might be the A10 or the A11 in Essex. I was some years ago working at different clubs in Essex. The furthest one away would have been Southend. Club Art, I think it was called. It's not there anymore. It's knocked down years ago now. But I used to finish there at 2 in the morning. I would have come back, I think on the A10, I think it was. Oh my God, the cars. They're all racing along there. It's quite a long straight road. And they were just racing along there. Crazy road. Essex is the second worst, followed by Hampshire, Kent, Warwickshire, Leeds, South Gloucestershire, Birmingham, Lancashire and Hillingdon. They are the worst ones there. But Surrey is by far the worst. Bosch is saying Leeds. Well, that is number 6. So you're not so bad in Leeds as you are in Surrey, apparently. Okay. Oddly enough, no mention of London there. I would imagine London's right at the top there, surely. Surely it is. Surrey topped the table. Data shows the county has 802,236 licensed vehicles, which spent a total of 8.448 billion miles of traffic in 2023. That's a lot of miles, isn't it, eh? God. Crazy. Yeah, no one likes driving in traffic, do we? We really hate driving in traffic there. Stephen, Lincoln traffic is horrible. Terrible, disgusting, he says. Luckily, I don't have to face it too much, as I do start work most days between 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. Keep trucking, Chris. Howdy, 10-4. Thank you. Vera's got 7 weeks of roadworks at the moment. She said the traffic is really bad because the council have decided they need to spend money before the financial year, so they dig up the roads where I am. Yeah, a lot of them are guilty of that. It's crazy though. Why don't they just fix the holes then? They look to spend the money they've got, but I don't think they spend it on the right things. Why aren't they fixing these bleak great big holes? The amount of people I know who have damaged wheels and something going down potholes in the middle of the road is unbelievable. Anyway, talking of trucking, Stephen, when I was out in Orlando, we were using Uber cars, and a couple of times there was we've got driven around by old people, older than me, 70, 72. Do you remember the bloke I told you about last week? 72 years old. He never stops. He never stops. He said the secret to a long life is to not stop. You just got to keep going. Don't be sitting there in the armchair doing nothing. And he does Uber cars. And I said, is this your main job? He said, no, I've retired. You just do this as a bit of fun. And it's something I've considered doing. I think I might like to drive people around, hopefully not too pissed, being sick in the back of my car or anything like that. And I kind of looked into it a little bit. The thing is, if you want to do it on the side, you've got to make the money to pay all these extra bits and pieces, like the license and insurance. I would imagine would go sky high. You'd be paying monthly, wouldn't you? Because you couldn't afford to pay the whole thing in a year unless you took out a loan or went into the pension. There's no point in doing it unless you can at least cover the costs. There's all the wear and tear on your car. You're going to do more miles and all this. And I get the feeling that in America it's not the same. I think to get a council cab license, I believe you have to go and learn all the roads, like in your head. So someone could say to me, can you take me to, I don't know, Greenham Road? I don't know where that is, but if you couldn't do that, then you can't have the license, which I personally think in this day and age is a bit pointless, because we've all got sat-navs. Not only have we got sat-navs, we've got many types of sat-navs, all different companies. Google Maps, Waze, TomTom, Navman. We've got all these different sat-navs. Well, they're not all going to go wrong at the same time, are they? Unless Mr. Putrid decides to shoot all the satellites out of them, would they? I think I might quite like to drive. I quite enjoyed being driven around by these Uber drivers, and it was really good. I can't praise it enough, the Uber thing, to be honest. I'd never used it before I went to Florida, and you pick up your thing, you open your app. Oh, it's a text message. It was Vera one. Let me have a look. Have you put your what? I don't know what you're talking about, Vera. My text back on. Oh, what? I don't know what you mean. Where was I now? I mustn't do messages while I'm in full flow. Uber. We got to Uber. Yeah. So you pick up, you open the Uber app. Once you've signed up to it and you put your credit card, there's no cash that you have to have. Don't need cash. And you pick up your phone. You type in where you want to go. It knows where you are roughly. You check that it's got your correct location, and within a couple of minutes, a car just turns up and whisks you away to wherever you want to go. Some of the drivers are more friendly than others, to be fair. There was one particular one, he was a miserable bastard. He really was. Miserable. Didn't want to talk or anything. There was a couple of them who couldn't really speak English that well, but they still did the job, and you got to the other end, and then you just get out, and it takes the money off you, and then you have the option of tipping them or not. And they don't know whether or not you're going to tip them when you're in the car. That happens after they've gone and after you've left the car. So if you don't want to, you don't have to tip them at all. I always tipped them $5, every single one of them, even the miserable bastard. I thought it was really good, but the prices change depending on the time of the day. If you've got a busy period, you're going to pay more. There were a couple of times that me and my mate went from the hotel to Disney for like $8. And then coming back, if we were coming back with a crowd, it could be like $35, you know. So you can get your times up. We could have hung around in the Disney or the Universal a bit longer and probably saved $5 or $10, but you know, it is what it is. But we worked out over the period that we were there using Uber, worked out to about £460 I spent in the end on Uber cars. The cheapest car hire was £540. So you see, I've already saved some money there. Plus, you haven't got to worry when you take oh, there's a little dent on there. Oh, it wasn't there when you took the car from us. Oh, that's another $500, please. You haven't got that worry, you see. And I think this has hit the car hire people quite badly. Well, then you should have provided a nice service. The other thing you get when you go to America and you hire the car, and you're all supposed to be paid up, and then they start selling you all this other insurance like collision damage waiver and all. Well, what's all that? I think we were told, I think I got an email from Virgin Air years ago now, you know, you've paid for this, and this. You do not need. If the salesman tries to sell you other insurance, refuse it. And that's exactly what I did. I got to this car and this bloke said, right, so this is a condition which you'll probably want to sign. No, I don't want any. What do you mean you don't want it? No, I don't think I need that. Really? No, I don't need that. Well, I wouldn't want to be taking our car out without that. But it's up to you, sir. You sure you don't want it? And they go on and on, you see. But I didn't have it. Hello to Stitch. Evening, Stitch. Welcome along. Gaviar, do you think you will bring back bingo one day? It was good. No. No. I enjoyed... Hello, Tim Jane McDonald, just joining us there. Hello to you. I thoroughly enjoyed doing the bingo. We used to have bingo and we used to do it as a show, didn't we? But it got quieter and quieter, and it was costing a lot of money to actually do it. And it was costing me about £120 every time we did it. So if it had got busier, like more and more people playing, then I would have carried on doing it. But it didn't. It didn't. It started getting quiet. And then you talk to some people, oh, why don't you play the bingo? Oh, and, you know, after 3 weeks, they disappear. Why don't you play the bingo? Oh, I never win anything. Well, you've only been playing it 3 weeks. What did you expect? It's just how it is, isn't it? Vera says, I think you have to pay up front for minicabs. That's right, yes. The thing is, Vera, you know, first of all, you've got to have a Hackney carriage licence, I think it's called. And I believe, although I'm not 100%, that you have to learn the roads of the area that you are mainly in. You also would need special insurance, which I would imagine would be £200, £300, £400 a month. Now, if you're only doing that as, you know, I think I'll go out and do a couple of hours driving today. If it's costing you more for the insurance and the license than is coming in, then it's pretty pointless. It's just something for me to do. And I imagine, you know, I meet all those people and they'd all have these little stories. Hello, and I do a little show. Do you see what I mean? I've got all these little stories to tell you then. Wonderful, wonderful, really. Yeah, Gary, most people use sat-navs these days. Yeah, I do. Even Uber shows you the route on their app. Yes, it does. It does. These sat-navs, I use Waze personally, W-A-Z-E. The bloke who takes us on holiday, we've got a lovely man. His name's Dario. He's got a Series 5 BMW, a beautiful car. And when me and my mate, when we were going on holiday, and actually last time we went down to Claridge's, we hired him. You know, he comes around and it's not a cheap thing really, but it's quite nice to be, you know, now and again to treat yourself. Luxury car comes and he jumps out his car, puts your bags in the back and takes you to wherever you want to go. I did joke to him, because we get on really well with him now. We know him now very well. And I can't remember, Ronnie was saying something about shopping and that. And I said, oh, Dario, I'll take you shopping, won't you, Dario? Dario, I'll take you shopping. He said, mate, I'll take you anywhere, £70 an hour, wherever you want to go. But if you want to do the city cab thing, You need to at least be covering the money and the wear and tear on your car. Otherwise, it's pointless. I just get the feeling it's a bit different in the States. Maybe they don't need this license and, you know, might be the end of the show today, and I think to myself, oh, do you know what I mean? I might go and do a couple of hours Uber now, and I go out for a couple of hours, and then I don't do it for the rest of the month. Well, I'm not going to, then it's pointless. I don't want it costing me money, do I? Although I suppose being self-employed, you could claim that back. I don't know. Don't know how that works. There's another little question for the accountant. Adrian says, evening, Adrian. That's known as the knowledge for black cabs. I don't think they have to do it. What normal cabs, they use Waze. Yeah, well, I do wonder, Adrian. I don't know how it works. I know the boys in the black cabs. They're very intelligent boys. I would rather be in a black cab, but it's so expensive. And I gather the prices of those are about to go up again, aren't they? There we are. Bosch says, have you noticed they go on the longest route to gain more money? What, the Uber? No, because you know what it is before they pick you up. Are you talking about the black cabs? I don't know about that. Most of them black cabs, I think, are decent blokes. Yeah, I don't know. All right. What else have we got? What's the time there? 7:30. Yeah, we'll do one more. Let's knock that one out. It's a bit late now, isn't it? You know what I mean? One of the things I was going to say today, everyone's got a story. You know, we've all got stories. When you talk to people, George uses maps for his sat navs. Probably Apple Maps, is it that you use? Yeah, okay. Everyone's got a story. Do you ever listen to people, you know, when they've got these stories? One's got like a little sad story. And there's been a couple over the last couple of days. There was a bloke yesterday, I won't tell you which one it was, at the karaoke. And I haven't seen him for years. I mean, years I haven't seen this bloke. And he's all right. I've known him for some time as a karaoke customer, okay? As I know most of the people in the pub are kind of they're not like close friends, okay? Like yourself, you know, you're like people where we are kind of friends, but we're not like friends whereas, you know, come around for a cup of tea, that sort of thing. You know what I mean? Same with the karaoke people. I was this bloke and he's like a karaoke friend, so to speak. I hadn't seen him for years, and I said, hello, where have you been? I said, it's got to have been since before the pandemic, which is itself is some years ago now, as you know. And he says, I had a massive stroke. I said, did you? He said, yeah. He said, I've had to learn to talk. I've had to learn to walk again. He says it's been about 6 or 7 years since I saw this bloke. And then he goes on the stage and sings his song. He's a little bit shaky, but that's okay, you know. We don't worry about that, anything like that. And he sung his song quite well, to be honest. Almost, well, if not as well as he used to sing it before his stroke. And I'm like watching him on the stage. I thought, wow, you must be a very strong man to have come through that. And I think everyone has got a little bit of a sad story. You know, some we hear about, some we don't. And I think it's nice. You may not have any advice to give to someone, right? But Father Danny, talking to a similar subject about one of my younger friends, and he had this story and he was telling me this story. And I said, but I don't know what to tell him to do. What do I tell him to do? He said, Chris, you've already done it. I said, well, what? He said, you listened to him. I said, well, that's not much good. He said, never, ever dismiss the power of listening to someone. You know, when they're talking to you, just shut the F up and listen. Don't keep coming in with your own bits and pieces. There's so many people like that as well. You know, you're trying to tell them something and they keep turning it around and then talking about themselves. No, just shut the F up and listen to what they've got to say. And that's what Father Danny told me. And I went away from that. I took that on board, and I thought, you know what? There's times I've wanted to talk to someone, one person, two people, whatever, always on their own. Could be anyone. And you're trying to tell them about your problem, and they keep coming in with their own bloody problems. Well, that's no good. You got to shut up and listen to them. And I listened to this bloke last night, and I was watching him. What a strong man you must be to have beat that. I'm sure, without any doubt in my mind, there's one or two of you on here who have gone through some very difficult periods, very dark periods, whether mentally or physically. Perhaps that word that I hate so much, beginning with C. One or two of you have beaten that, I'm sure. Maybe one or two of you that I don't know about are dealing with that at the moment, or anything. Heart problems, whatever. Mental problems as well. They're just as bad. There was a lady in the church today. I don't usually sit next to her. Again, no names, elderly lady. She sits there, she's very quiet. She looks a bit sad. Always looks a bit sad, she's hard of seeing. I said, hello love, how are you? She's chatting away. And I can't remember what it was, but she obviously wanted to tell me that she'd lost her husband. And I'm like, how long ago was that? 7 years. And I could see immediately the little tears well up in her eyes. And you don't ask them what happened. You just sit there and listen. And if they want to tell you, they will tell you, you know? I said, what did he die of? You know, wrong question. Just sit there and perhaps, right, were you with him very long? Or, you know, keep the conversation going. But bear in mind, you know, there's just certain questions. I saw in the paper today, there's a lad on The Apprentice. I don't know anyone who's watching The Apprentice at the moment, and he's got a bit of a disfigured face. And can you believe people write into the TV show and ask him what happened to his face? I mean, for God's sake, man, what is wrong with people? Not just one letter either. Why would you write in and say, what happened to your face? None of your bloody business. If he offers the information, yeah, I'm listening. I'm not going to ask, okay, we're all human. We wonder what's happened to his face. Why would you ask something like that? Anyway, that was a lady there, and I sat there and I listened to her and carried on with the mass, you know. There was another lady, there's another bloke in there at the moment. His wife's dying. And he told us, and we just stand and listen to him, and I watch him and how sad he is. And he was saying, you know, years ago we did these wheels. He said it's... and then something like this happens and you get the wheels out and then you start looking over them all over again, which is something they'd never done since they wrote the wheels years ago. And everyone's got these little stories and they want to be listened to. So maybe you don't have the advice to give of what they should do or what they shouldn't do. We're not experts in any way, are we? I did many years ago see a lady because I had a bit of a depression thing going on. This is some time ago now, and she did exactly that. You know, they don't tell you anything. They sit there, they shut up, and they listen to everything that you've got to say, which is just so unusual these days. People just want to keep jumping in and going on about their own issues, and where you've gone to them for help. You know, I always think that the people in sort of more trouble are the ones who don't speak up. They're not the ones on Facebook saying, oh, I've got this and this, or that and that, or I'm having this problem, or I'm having that problem. Or maybe that's because I'm older and Facebook is actually to them the same as me talking to you and you talking to me face to face. Maybe that's what that is to them. To me, it's not. when you start putting out Facebook messages, oh, what a terrible day I've had. And when they don't tell you what it is, they want you to then say, oh, why? What's happened? Or, I've got this, or, you need to do this and whatever. I just think, it's the ones who are quieter, who never really mention what's wrong, but you can usually pick up and see. And there was a Facebook message from someone yesterday. I was having a conversation with someone on Facebook last night. Sorry, everyone who comes to the karaoke, but sometimes I'm on Facebook having a conversation as well with someone. And I very quickly became aware something wasn't quite right because the conversation didn't flow. I said, is everything all right? And then it starts, coming back to you. So, yeah, like Father Danny says, never ever underestimate the power of simply just listening to what someone has to say, because often no one else has listened, All right. Paul's there. Paul Adamson. Hello, Paul. That's why we all need some long, good-term friends. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely there. Dionysus, Greek god. Some people just want to be listened to. Yeah, absolutely. With their problems. If they come to you, just listen to them. Now and again, the only thing is sometimes they'll have these problems, and you might have had that problem, and then perhaps use your example to them of perhaps how you sorted it out. But don't come in, I've got this terrible heart problem at the moment. It's like, sorry, there is someone on here who's got that at the moment, so I'm not pointing at you here. Let me change that. I've got this. I'm going to say wrist. Then someone else has got that. I've got a terrible blood condition at the moment, isn't I? Oh, really? Oh, well, I'm having a lot of problem with my arm at the moment. No, dear, no. They didn't ask you that. They want to tell you about their problem. If you've got put that on someone else. Don't turn it round to make it all about you. Just shut up and listen to them. We've had it on the show before, haven't we? Over the many years, there's this been going on now, where perhaps someone's called in and there's been something going on, and suddenly something clicks and you realise there's a bit of a problem here. And you listen. Hello to Joseph. Evening, Joseph. Dionysus. Some people have no empathy. Well, yeah, we know about that as well, don't we? Know a lot of people with no empathy. Peter Rimington just joining us there. Evening, Peter. You're a bit late, love, honestly. What sort of time is this? I should have finished about like 15 minutes ago, love. Peter, it's good to talk if there's someone willing to listen. Yeah. Okie doke. Vera. Sometimes listening can be overwhelming. Well, don't then. That if you can't do it, then don't. Then you can't have it pulling you down as well. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be the right person. You've got to be perhaps in the mood to be able to do it. You can't just do it all the time, can you? Anyway, time to go, boys and girls. Thank you very much for joining us today. We'll do another one of these. Let me just check my little diary. My very, very busy diary. Very busy. We'll be back with you again next Sunday night at 6 o'clock here on United Kingdom Talk. If you're around in the mornings, boys and girls, I'm tempted to show you the kitten video. Do you want to see the kitten video? No, you've seen it once already. That's enough. If you're around in the morning, I do a little radio show in the morning. If you are on the internet or on your mobile phone, just type in reachonair.com and you'll see a listen button there. Okay, just click listen and it'll play through your little speaker like that on your mobile phone or on your computer. If you have an Amazon device, okay, going to the skills settings, so open up the app, look for the skills, open up that, and look for the skill called Reach on Air. Can be a little bit difficult to find that, okay? Reach on Air, enable that, close it. Then once you've done that, you should be able to say to your speaker, Amazon, play Reach on Air, okay? Sometimes she starts playing something else. Just try it again until it starts working. She's pretty good at doing that one now, okay? And I'm doing that Monday to Friday, 9 till 10 in the morning. It's dance music and chat. And we have a couple of little competitions in there. There's no prizes or anything like that. Just a little bit of fun. If you can't make it there on a morning, then I do also do a Tuesday night. Same place. There you go. Exactly the same place, except it's Tuesday night, 9 till 11 o'clock. You can also, if you want to go a little bit further, you can watch these shows by downloading Twitch, completely free of charge. Twitch, okay? Once you've signed up, look for my username, Chris Reardon UK. Add me on there and you can watch the show 9 till 10 in the morning or 9 till 11 on Tuesday night, okay? And it's also, at the moment, on TikTok as well. And again, once you've got TikTok, look for me. Username, Chris Reardon UK. And you'll find it there. All right, let me have a cough. Minor cough. Okay, thanks for joining us. And I'll see you again very soon. Don't forget, gang. If you go onto YouTube now, type in Butler's Empire and join them at 8 o'clock for their latest premiere show. Thanks for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. Bye-bye now.